we will set you up.
Well, you do, yeah. That's kind of how I wanted to begin, but all right. I'll talk a little bit first. Okay, but can we get it set up?
Yes, we will.
Okay,
And speak as close as you can to the
okay,
speaker. Thank you.
all right. How's my audio? Are we good? Okay. Hi, Satnam. I'm JaiAnand. I'm here to speak to you today. The topic is, you need the other leg. I'm sorry. I need to do this because this is my precious instrument.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me just do this.
I would
Thank
be
you,
happy
Paul.
to, no
Appreciate
problem.
that. All right, well, thank you for your patience and flexibility with setup.
Well, as you saw today, we're all very flexible.
Yeah, where did the mallet go?
I saw it earlier.
Right here?
It's right here.
Right there.
Fabulous, that's a good thing. Thank you. And then if I'm gonna do this properly. I need these. All right. The topic today is riding the sound current of creation. A brief introduction to the science of Nod Yoga. So, let's talk about creation. Most of us learned about creation as the Big Bang, right? But most of us only know sound as being what? How do you make a sound?
With your
You strike two things together. All of the sound that you have experienced in your life, consciously, is related to banging. Your vocal cords bang together. Paul plays the strings of his guitar. I'll play my gong, right? But what was there to make the sound at the beginning of creation? Nothing. So the Big Bang, this notion of the nod, is the notion of the unstruck sound. That this is the one creative force that is all that flows through all, this unstruck sound, called the anahata. That's the word for it. And when you ride the sound current of creation, right, so this sound current is here all the time. The notion of riding it comes from having an awareness of it. But can you have an awareness of something that you haven't experienced? And can you have an experience of something of which you are not aware? So we are in, it is taught the Aquarian age. Many of you know, we probably got some astrology people here who know all about that, so I won't go into that. But the Aquarian age is the age of experience, right? The Piscean age was the age of so-called knowledge, where knowledge and information were controlled by smaller groups of people and divvied out, and you got it if you went to university or if you were rich enough to get it. But now we have these, right? Google. All the information you want is available all the time. I mean, we do live in an age of miracles, you know that. Like, as annoying as these things are, they are miraculous. So it's not about any information, and it's not about anything that you necessarily even need to know. What's available to you now is experience. So I'm going to start with giving you an experience, I'll come back and talk, and then I'll give you some more experience. So this is a gong, and in my spiritual tradition, it is taught that the gong, when played the way we're taught to play it, is the closest approximation that we have to the anahata. So I'm not sure how my audio is going to be. So if you're not feeling it because of the acoustics, you might want to come forward. But I'm going to play you a little bit on the gong. Hi, Zoom. So, close your eyes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well enough? Are we good?
Yeah.
Right, so close your eyes, please. And call yourself home to yourself. Be so sensitive to where you are, who you are, and how you are that you can feel the skin behind your left earlobe. The tip of your middle finger on your right hand without even moving it. Hear the sound of your breath. Hear the sound of your heartbeat. When was the last time you recalled that that particular beat that you are hearing occurs once in all time? It has never been before you arrived in this incarnation, and it will never be again. The beat of your heart is unique to you in this incarnated life experience. What is the sound of your gratitude to your heart? When you're ready, inhale and exhale through your nose, and open your eyes. And feel what happens to your whole being when you turn your frown upside down. Let's try it. You can change your whole energy field, right? Change the entire relationship you have with the universe and with one person or 20 people, however many we are here, just by smiling. Take a moment to notice your experience of yourself now versus before I started. This is the age of experience. Kundalini Yoga, as I practice it, is the yoga of experience. But again, do you have an experience of which you are not aware? The science of Nad Yoga is about cultivating a relationship through awareness and experience with and of the anahata, the unstruck sound, which of course is always there, right? Otherwise, where would we be? It'd be kind of a bummer. We certainly wouldn't be here today, right? So it's the nod, right, is the struck sounds that we make that allow us to harmonize with the unstruck sound. Thus we are riding the sound current of creation, applying the science of Nad Yoga. So you can imagine that Nad, right, comes from the sounds we make. In the particular lineage that I practice and teach, you can most easily connect with the Nad. Well, it actually goes so through this, right? And that's like otherworldly. But it also comes from how you speak, and then we do a lot of chanting. So I think in your believe statement, no, I didn't write it down. Okay, I'll just go with this. So light is both wave and particle, right? And sound is a frequency, which itself is a wave. So all of us, and we're all aware here of the nature of the quantum universe, right? We're all just energy. So the nod is this frequency, the sound current, that you create to connect and have an experience of the reality of the anahata, the unstruck sound. So we'll do a little chanting. But I actually think that if you're not yet in a space where you're interested in practicing chanting, it's not a big deal. Because, you know, my little quote about God living on the tip of your tongue, whether or not you want to anthropomorphize that notion or just take it as a general energy of this. In my lineage, it's a one creative force that is all, that flows through all. Mm-hmm. So we are all simultaneously experiencing it and it. Mm-hmm. We are each incarnated, individuated in this very finite, right? We're all gonna die, right? But we're finite creatures made of the same finite stuff. So you can chant and have a particular experience. Chanting, you know, I joke with my son who's 14 now, way better than drugs. But you don't have to chant. Just pay attention to how you sound. Pay attention to what you say. When you align your being and doing in your word, when you have that kind of integrity, you are accessing the nod of your incarnation. So all you really need to do today, walk away from here, is to hold for yourself the reality of your word. Each word that you speak is an act of creation. And make note, is there a separation between creator and creation when you speak a word? Right? So at a very practical level, accessing the anahata through relationship on the daily, through breath, thought, and word, is right there. You don't have to chant. It's just a continued journey of consciousness as a relationship. And this is the teaching that is most significant when you're riding that sound current of creation, because, as I said multiple times already, creation, the anahata, this force, this big bang, the unstruck sound, is going to go on. It went on before you had words for it, right? You were born, you had no vocabulary, it was going on. Maybe you didn't know the word anahata till I stood up here. Maybe you never thought about the unstruck sound before today, but it's all been here. So now what you have available to you is consciousness of what I have possibly created for you, but what you may very well create for yourself if you embrace the reality of the anahata. You are creating that, right? And then you can create a relationship with it. And then that relationship, depending on how you experience yourself when you access it, you can cultivate it in all kinds of ways. At its simplest, it is words, right? That's what I would say. At its simplest, it is words. But again, if in a quantum universe, everything is energy and frequency, and therefore everything has a vibration and everything is in fact sound, then every way that you are is an opportunity to have a relationship with the unstruck sound. So sometimes people go, oh God, I gotta think about this all the time. It's not really that. It's just like most, it depends. You were talking here about your workshop about, was it positive energy, positive attitude?
Positive living.
Positive living,
yeah.
thank you, that's the words I'm looking for. So in my lineage, there's a notion of, it's called charikala, which is the experience and the creation in relationship to the divine of the ever-rising spirit, right? So everything that you do, you can either look at it like a lot of people like, oh, I gotta think about this all the time, and it's a responsibility, and you go into that overwhelm baloney, whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's just an opportunity to be divine at every turn. In every way, in every moment. Even when you're sitting in traffic, like I was getting here, because there was an accident on the 60. You know, you just hold it all. And that comes back to the frequency of relationship and the holding of the consciousness, the awareness that comes from the experience. And so you can take any experience that you have and bring yourself back to your awareness, or have some kind of moment of awareness here, which you're really having as a result of the experience of the words coming out of my mouth and entering your ears, and you actually having an incarnated body that allows you to pick up my frequency. So, am I allowed to ask people if they have questions?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna get my water and somebody think of a question. Or not, if you wanna ask a question. I know I'm supposed to talk, but I think I've talked enough. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Michael Whitefeather.
Michael Whitefeather.
Yes.
Wow, I love that name. Hi, Michael Whitefeather. What is your question?
Good morning. You know, I had a beautiful experience with your brief exercise, and you know, I'm a confirmed bachelor, probably as a consequence of being the antithesis of that throughout most of my life before I turned 70. But it wasn't for lack of having tried that I sought for authentic relationship. And so when I think of your inference about finding relationship, it reminded me of the Jewish philosopher Martin Buber, whose classic work, I Am Thou, was, premised, in the middle of the last century. That's how old I am. But, it's fun to say age is only a number, but what a wonderful grace it is to reach the numbers beyond half a century and wake up every morning surprised that you actually have a new dawn to experience. So I've come to the conclusion that being is both a noun and a verb. And in that relationship of I and thou, there is some middle ground which is beyond description. It can only be known. Does this relate to what you're expressing or not?
Did everybody hear that?
Well, yeah.
No.
It was-
Just spoke up a little bit higher.
Okay, well, I'll do my best to paraphrase, and then you step in if I misspeak. So, Michael was first talking about being a confirmed bachelor, not for lack of trying, and then brought forward the magic that comes with being a little bit older, and the appreciation of the I am thou relationship, which in my words would be you are creator and creation, that there is no separation. And he was asking me if I am thou crosses over, if there's some intersection or relationship with that notion with what I've been describing vis-a-vis consciousness as relationship. Is that where you were taking it? Pretty much. And I would say absolutely. I am the leader of a global community of yogis, and we do a healing meditation every day, 7 days a week. And we invoke a particular mantra to heal humanity and the planet, to make a healing offering to Mother India, the home of our lineage, and then for each person who is present to offer healing for those they love and for themselves. And the final two sounds of that mantra, so hung, mean I am thou. So again, most of you are here, maybe you were raised in this particular, do you call it a church?
No.
Spirit center, thank you. Yeah, I didn't think church was the right word. Maybe you were raised, but many of you were probably not, right? You were maybe raised in one of the Judeo-Christian options that are so prevalent in our nation. But you're here probably because you've been around the block several times and you picked up the language and the vocabulary and the experience of all these different spiritual paths. And at some level, they're made up of different words. It is said in my lineage, it is said that it is talked about that there are 80,000 paths. It's a lot, right? I mean, in my lifetime, this is the one that I happened upon relatively late in life. But the words are just part of the frequency that I related to, that resonated with me. mother's chagrin, you know, I was raised a Jew, so there's all kinds of complications just in that alone. Where I land in what you described as the unknown in that nexus is that as much as we, and as I say this with my son in our house, you create your world with your words, right? It is words that provide us those wordless spaces that are not necessarily unknown, just wordless. And that in this particular age, the Aquarian age, we get to seek out having those kinds of experiences and following those paths, picking up those breadcrumbs that call us. Now, lots of people don't like wordless spaces, right? Because, you know, some people, they want to have words to control stuff or whatever it is. We're used to words, right? But that's where I go, oh, I've got a time signal. Oh, okay, so I gotta stop. All right, so I was gonna take another question, but I'll be here, right? You can ask me questions when I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'd like to just play the
Afterwards,
gong
yes.
to close the
Start the
container.
meditation. Would you like to do a meditation for us?
Well, I just thought we would do some more gong playing, if you guys
Yes,
are good with
absolutely,
that. And if
right.
you didn't hear that before,
Yes.
then come closer.
Yes.
And we'll do the gong, because I'm not feeling great. I used all my words.
That's awesome.
Okay. Close your eyes again. If that serves you in connecting with your wordless spaces. We live in a quantum universe, right? Even atoms are divided into microatoms, and there's quanta, and things get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But there's always a space between. So go into those worldless spaces, your spaces between, and see what happens. Listen to what happens. The journey of peace is to hold all that is and all that is not. To hold an ever-expanding universe that is simultaneously infinite and nothing at all. And when you ride the waves of the sound current of creation, perhaps you will find some peace. Sat Nam. Thank you for having me.